Hi everyone. Today's Wednesday. Sorry, I'm posting a little bit later than I usually do. And I apologize for the kids in the background. We all just walked in the door. Today I want to talk about boundaries and self-disclosure. So just to give everybody a reminder, I am doing my field placement at Hope on Haven Hill, which is a residential treatment center for pregnant substance abusing women, as well as their children. And currently we have 7 residents in the home. We are in the process of trying to fill the 8th bed. So as I stated before in a couple of previous posts, this is a brand new facility, so they're still trying to work out the kinks and try to figure out what is the best method to go about administering the program, treatment, all of that interesting stuff. They have followed some guidelines from some particular recovery programs that are within the area as well, so they're also kind of trying to tweak it to make it their own. So a lot of the staff that work within the house is recovery support staff, and some of the clinical staff are also in recovery themselves. So the women that are in the home are able to relate, I guess, a little bit better to some of these individuals. So this tends to bring up the issue of boundaries and what is healthy for the relationship status, I guess you could say, between residents and staff. Just from being there for a couple of weeks, I've had the opportunity to obviously sit back and observe and look at some of the different dynamics that are within the house. I have also been approached by a couple of the residents. A lot of them at first didn't know who I was, what I was doing there. So kind of gave them a little bit of a background as to who I am and what I was doing, which was, I'm a social work intern. This is what I'm here to learn and to do some individual counseling, group therapy, that type of stuff. And the main question that I have been asked by every resident within the home was, am I in recovery? And at first, I didn't really answer right away because I wasn't really sure what to disclose about myself and what not to. I was because that was one of my fears going into this internship, was how am I going to relate to these women? I've never been an addict. It really hasn't affected my life. I haven't really been touched by it by anybody that I know very, very well. I mean, there have been people that I have grown up with that I've lost touch with that have passed from substance abuse, but that's about it. I don't have any experience in this particular area at all, which is why I chose to do my internship here, was because I wanted to gain more experience, because this is primarily the direction that I would like to go in, is working with pregnant moms who have substance abuse issues. So a lot of the women kind of backed off instantaneously when they found, when I said that, didn't really answer them and say that, no, I'm not in recovery. I've never had any experience with this. My answer to that question, after I had thought about it for a few minutes, was, we all have our own stories, and, it's all touched us in one form or another, and kind of left it at that. And did discuss that in supervision with my field instructor, and come to find out that's pretty much similar to what she says as well, when she's approached and asked that question. So I really, at this particular point, not really sure what to disclose about myself and what not to. There are certain things that I don't feel are appropriate to talk about with the residents within the home that I will be working with on a constant daily basis. I mean, they all know I'm a mom. They all know I have children, because I sit in on their child development and nurturing parenting class, and a lot of them have asked me my opinion on certain things, and I have let them know that I am a mom, but that's about it. I don't really get into too much detail about myself, and I don't know if that actually kind of hurts that relationship, because they don't really know who I am, so to speak, if that makes any sense at all whatsoever. I'm not really sure. So I don't really delve too much into, oh, when I was pregnant, this happened, or, my birth was like this, or whatever, because each person is unique, and each individual is going to have their own pregnancy, own birth, whatever. But when it comes to like child development and they ask me certain questions, I do kind of answer them a little bit, in regards to the same thing. Every child is different. Every child's going to develop at their own rate. There are certain guidelines that physicians go by, that type of thing. So that's my self-disclosure portion. This video is going to be just a little bit over. I really apologize. But I would like to kind of talk about boundaries. So smoking seems to be a huge issue within the house because these women all still continue to smoke cigarettes. So we do have some recovery staff, and actually one of the clinical staff who I don't think kind of act in a professional manner when it comes to these women. I feel, as well as my field instructor, we have discussed this, as well as one of the other social workers that I also observe as well, is that there are some residents that are treated completely different than other residents, which changes the whole milieu in the house. There are a lot of boundaries that are being crossed, like buying some things for one resident and not the other, taking one resident here and not the other type of thing. So I do believe that is being addressed within the house, as my field instructor is the clinical director of the program, and it's been brought to her attention as well. So it's just been kind of interesting to watch those dynamics, because you can see between the other residents, and they know and it, I guess you could say, kind of hurts them a little bit. Why is this particular individual being treated differently? And we do have some recovery staff that have been in recovery with these residents that are in the home. You know, they've been to meetings together. They've been in jail together. They're very well acquainted with each other. So I think that relationship had really didn't kind of get put on the back burner, so to speak. Not that they can't be friends, but I think when we're in the home and we're doing programming and these individuals are being worked with together, they all kind of need to be on the same page. Do for one, then you need to do for all type of thing. And that's how some of the ladies that are in the house right now are currently feeling. There was an issue yesterday in regards to cigarettes and how one recovery worker will buy cigarettes for one resident, whereas these residents have to have people either bring them in or drop them off, or when they do their grocery shopping runs or whatnot, they have to pick them up themselves. So that's turning out to be a huge issue. Just a lot of little things. There's a little bit of a power struggle between a couple of individuals within the home as well, as far as certain areas of treatment staff, because there's unprofessional language being used with the residents. It's more of a I'm your friend, I'm not your therapist type of relationship. And so that's just what I'm observing. I don't really have any questions to ask in regards to that. I just was kind of, wanting to get anybody else's opinion as far as the boundary portion of this. As far as self-disclosure goes, I guess my question to you would be, how much would you disclose to these individuals? To try, my fear is I want to create that trusting working relationship, and I just want to make sure that I guess I'm going about doing that the right way. I don't want to completely segregate myself from it and say nothing. So I'm not really sure where to go with that, and that's been a topic in our field instruction that's kind of been ongoing. So I just kind of wanted to get your thoughts and opinions. I feel like I'm rambling all over the place, so I apologize for that. I hope you're all having a great week. Thank you.